Hey YouTube, RicoKnows here. I continue my series of evaluating every single draft pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. So here we are. We are on the LA Rams. Now, if you want to see all the other teams that have been done already, go to the playlist on YouTube, go to the homepage, click playlist, find 2024 NFL Draft reviews and assessments. You'll see all the teams. But we're talking about the Rams. They made 10 picks. So let's get after it. First and foremost, I think the Rams did lazy recruiting. I really do. They did lazy recruiting because they didn't draft anyone outside of a Power 5 team. They didn't dig in the crates anywhere. They didn't go look for any long shots. All these guys are like solidified starters who have played long college careers, which is fine. But it just looks like one of those drafts where you just went out and got a bunch of dudes who have really high floors and you weren't taking a stab at anyone. You weren't taking a shot. Dare I say it was safe. I like the draft. Don't ever get that confused. I like the draft. So going into this offseason, they knew they were losing a guy named Donald, right? A defensive lineman, an all-time great. Shout out to Donald. Not Sterling, not the Duck, right? Aaron Donald goes ahead and retires, and now you got to replace this all-time great defensive lineman, and you know you need to address your defensive line. So the first pick, they're sitting at 19, and they're hoping certain players are still there when they got a draft. And they had no idea the entire NFL was going to do them a favor and only draft offensive players. So not a single defensive player gets off the board until 15, and then you got edge rushers coming off, 15, 16. The edge rushers are coming off. So I think that Jared Verse was the fourth edge rusher to come off the board. I really like Jared Verse. He should have went pro last year. Everybody knows it. He should have went pro last year. He was a first-round pick last year, and he decided to stick around for another year, go undefeated in the regular season. Good stuff. I'm not mad at him. It's impressive. Shout out to him. Yeah, I think it's a hell of a draft pick. I like it. And that's a former FCS guy transferring to the highest level and proving he can play there. It's good stuff. I think it fell into their lap and they're excited about it. In the second round, 39th, Braden Fisk. If you followed the channel for a while, you already know how I feel about Braden Fisk, but I'll talk you through it. I don't like him. I haven't liked him for a long time. I've been looking at this man. He was in the MAC. Western Michigan. Braden Fisk. Marshawn Nealon, two guys drafted in the second round. You're trying to tell me the defensive line from Western Michigan had 2 second-round draft picks? No. I watched the tape. I watched these guys. I get it, man. He transferred to Florida State. The recruiting website said he was the best defensive lineman in the transfer portal last year, and they ranked him so high so everybody knew his name. He put on 300 pounds. He ran a 4.7 40, all that stuff. Look, I know at some point I need to respect this man's game. At some point. I do, because he's been testing out well and he's been playing great and all this. But if you're a defensive tackle, you're going to get over 300 pounds in the NFL. You got to be. So he's got to gain about 20 more pounds. He's going to lose a step or two. I think it's good. It helps, with the rotation and getting people up there to replace all the production you're about to lose with a Hall of Famer retiring. But man, it just leaves a lot to be desired. It does, man. And I don't mean to be rude, but it doesn't feel like the best player possible at that moment. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but it felt too safe. Hope he plays great. Hope he has a long career. Speaking of too safe, Blake Corum comes off the board at 3. And I know Kyron Williams is injured. Or not injured. I know he had a breakout year, but I know you have nobody else. Cam Akers is, whatever. And so here's my issue, though. How good is Blake Corum? Anybody know? I know he won a national title, but apparently he had a first-round quarterback, right? A first-round draft pick quarterback. Apparently he had an NFL caliber coach and an all-time great offensive line. How good is he? Because I've seen the backup running back get in there and do the same exact thing. I've seen the backup running back be potentially better and just as much production if given the same amount of carries. So how good is Blake Corum? If I put you in tryouts right now, is he better than Evans? Because they drafted Zach Evans in the 6th round last year from Ole Miss, the former 5-star from TCU and Ole Miss. So when you start looking at running backs and you start seeing equivalent talented players. How does it work? Are you just picking a guy that's 5'8", 200 pounds because he played on an all-time great team that had an amazing defense? Like, nothing I've seen from Blake Corum stamps NFL running back. Nothing. So you drafted a backup running back in the 3rd round when other teams are still finding starters. Now, it definitely drafting a need. But if you were going after a real running back, if you're going after the best one metrically, if we're having tryouts tomorrow, the best running back I saw was Jalen Wright out of Tennessee. And he didn't go until the 4th round. So it's one of those things that I just feel you went out and drafted a guy that is not exceptional in any way. And I feel like when he gets to your practice and he gets to your team and you start having him try out with some of these other running backs, he's not going to be far and wide ahead of them. The only reason you're going to give him more playing time than those other running backs is because you drafted him in the 3rd round. And this is the problem with the NFL. If you have a larger financial investment in a player, you start that player. You give them more reps because you've invested more money in them. Very rarely will you see them be like, oh yeah, my bad, we're going to start this other guy. It's always a big deal when it happens. We're going to start a 6th rounder. It's always a big deal because there's somebody on the roster getting paid more. And now you have Blake Corum getting 3rd round money versus other running backs that are getting 6th round money. So you play the 3rd round guy, but I'm telling you, if we sit down, line up, run some 40s, make some cuts, do your drills and make your plays, if we do that, Blake Corum isn't exceptional. He's not any better than some of the running backs you have on your roster. I understand the best ability is availability, right? So I know it's about the fact that he might be durable and able to play, but I just don't see it like that. I don't. Next pick, Cam Kitchens, best pick in the draft. Best pick for the Rams draft, Best pick for the Rams draft for sure. Cam Kitchens, my number 1 safety on my board. A lot of people he dropped because of his 40 time at the combine. He and his teammate ran incredibly slow 40s, James Williams. Let me say something to you guys. When I look at a young man dominating the college football scene for 2 seasons in a row, 11 interceptions, I believe, 2 seasons in a row, Cam Kitchens finds the ball, incredibly productive, violent at the point of attack, no hesitation. You ever seen a safety come down and make a hit and they just don't know how to tackle correctly? Not this guy. This dude's coming down like Steve Atwater. But more importantly, he gets interceptions. He plays great. And if you tell me his 40 time is a 10th slower than you anticipated, let's just say it's 2/10 slower in this case. I think it was a 4.69. Let's say it's 2/10 slower than you wanted him to be because you wanted him in the 4.5 speed. Bro, his read and react is faster than anybody else. He reads a play faster than other safeties. So he reacts faster than them. This is why he gets to the ball faster than them. While you might be faster with foot speed, this man is going towards the ball, you're still in your back pedal. This man reads it's incredible. I love the pick. I think Cam Kitchens is a starter. I think he's a multi-contract guy. I think he'll be on this team as long as they keep him. He'll be in the NFL more than 2 contracts, barring injury. I love everything about Cam Kitchens. Good pick. 5th round, you go and get Brendan Jackson. Finally had a breakout year, led the team in sacks, first team all-conference. Been one of those journeymen, been around for a while. I think it's a very boring pick, very safe pick. Didn't really move me that much. You go and double dip again on the defensive line. They really wanted to impact their defensive line. This is 4 defensive linemen that they drafted. Imagine 4 rookies on your defensive rotation. It's a bit much. But you go and get Brendan Jackson. And I will say this, some of these guys are older. Some of these guys have been around a long time. With that COVID year, with the redshirt year, they've been in college for a long time. So they come out really physically mature. It's not like a bunch of 20-year-old, 22-year-old rookies. No, these guys are straight up 24, 25 years old. So they're physically mature, physically developed, been playing a long time. And I'm telling you, I don't know anybody been playing longer than Tyler Davis. That dude started at least 3-4 years at Clemson down there. And he's been a beast the whole time. I think he's been all ACC 3 years in a row. Nobody's respecting him. How do you fall to the 6th round? You've been starting at Clemson among all those other studs? Nah, this is a guy right here teaching Peter Woods how to be a professional. I love everything about Tyler Davis. I like that pick as well. I like that pick, and it makes me feel like if you wanted a running back or you wanted something on the offensive line, or you could have did that in the second round. Because you're getting a guy, Tyler Davis and Braden Fisk, if I'm having tryouts tomorrow, are very, very close to each other, talent-wise. Like Braden Fisk couldn't, well, you can't transfer to Clemson, but he couldn't go to Clemson and start over Tyler Davis. No. So what are we doing? I like it, man. I'm cool with it. It looks like the Rams scouted the hell out of the ACC. I'll say that with all those picks. And then the Rams, I think they were 30th last year in field goal percentages and accuracy, 30th in the NFL, so damn near last. Terrible kickers everywhere, so they go get a kicker in the 6th round. I don't like it. There's a kicker in the UFL right now kicking 63-yarders, 64-yarders. You don't have to draft a kicker. You can find one on the street. Get a bunch of them in there. Bring in 5 kickers. Let them all try out. Don't waste a draft pick on a kicker. That's just me. I remember they got the Lou Groza Award winner 2 years ago after the draft. They didn't draft him, and it didn't work out. But you can always get a kicker somewhere. Jordan Whittington, once again, just going to these Power 5 programs and just hoping that they developed players correctly for you. You're hoping they did all the work for you. This is a very physically mature guy, been around for a lot of years, but there was so many more wide receivers in the 6th round that you could have taken with a huge upside. There's some undrafted free agents with better upside than Whittington here. And do you really need a receiver? The Rams? Are you kidding me? Their wide receiver room's loaded. I don't know. It just felt like a reach. It didn't feel right. It felt wrong. When I'm looking at the names, I'm looking at the draft go down, and, I live stream all this. When it happened, I'm like, oh, my God, that was weird. It's almost as bad as the Northwestern kid. Whole nother conversation. Bo Lemer. Bo Lemer, very, very versatile. Both of them are. Bo Lemer and KT Levinston out of K-State. They're both versatile. Last year, the Rams drafted Steven Avila out of Northwestern, I think. Steven Avila got drafted last year. Maybe it wasn't Northwestern. Was it Baylor? Northwestern. Doesn't matter. They drafted him, I think, in the 2nd round. Oh, TCU. There it was. Whoa. Boom. Brain. All right. So they go and draft him, and I guess they're moving him to center. So Bo Lemer is just going to be a backup all over the place. He's got all these different things. Very strong guy. I think he had the most bench press reps at the combine, so they went ahead and took him. Congratulations. And then KT Levinston, another guy who probably projects as a guard, tackle, somewhere. He could play anywhere. He's just versatile. So to me, very boring draft. I like some of these players a lot, right? I love the Jared Verse pick. I like Taylor Davis, sneaky good that late. I like Cam Kitchens a lot, and I hope Blake Corum and Braden Fisk work out. All in all, not a bad draft. Just a very safe, very unleaded draft. They weren't trying to find any premium gas. They just said, yo, give me unleaded. We know that works. That'll get me from point A to point B. This is the Camry of drafts. It's not bad. You're not trying to get something flashy. You know it'll get you to work. It's not bad. It's just the Camry. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.